This time next year, the British and Irish Lions will have returned home from Australia. They will hope to have matched the achievements of the last victorious Lions, the 1997 tour of South Africa. Facing the world champion Springboks, they were given little chance of success, but against all the odds, went on to claim a dramatic series win. Their manager was former England and Lions prop Fran Cotton. The choice of captain, his first important decision.
Ian Evans, who was a great Lion, captain of Wales, Jason Leonard, but when you looked at it, thought, well, Ian's a great player, but he's on the wing. You know, in South Africa, we really wanted somebody who was the heart of the battle. Jason, great player, but was he guaranteed his test place? So there's a question mark there. So that's why we ended up with Martin Johnson, and he was superb on that trip, both as a captain and as a player.
Another former Lion and the assistant coach on the South African tour, Scotland's Jim Telfer, knew the formidable challenge the squad would face.
When you're taking on the South Africans, you have to have experienced forwards. Martin Johnson, Delalio, and players like that, Wood and Jason Leonard, you know, who'd been there before. So we had to have a base of experience, but we also took some younger players to make sure we had a good mix. But you cannot be intimidated by the Springboks, or you're as well staying at home. So there was a mix of experienced players who'd been in tours before, and also some of the younger players that we thought we would come through.
Another key would be the selection of some recently returned rugby league professionals.
And Scott Gibbs, I'd never met the chap before, but he was so intimidating. He used to shout at the centre opposite him, the player opposite, I'm going to get you, I'm going to get you, I'm going to get you. You know, and it sort of lifted the spirits of the other fellas. And you know, so they could take anything. Nothing was new to them. Nothing, you know, fazed them at all.
I always remember Jim in one of his team talks saying, look, they don't respect you, they don't rate you. The only thing they'll understand if in the early on of the game you stick one on them. In other words, you've got to be really in the faces and physical.
The Lions arrived in Cape Town buoyed by their success in the provincial warm-up games, where they had won 7 of 8 matches, their only defeat a narrow one against Northern Transvaal. But the Springboks had held back all their players from those games, and the Lions were expected to be easy meat at Newlands. The heavyweight South African forwards, led by skipper Gary Teichmann, were ready and waiting.
Well, we went in as huge underdogs, and South Africa were firm favourites. I don't think many people expected us to win the series. I always remember early on, the very first scrum, it went back. Our scrum, you thought, oh God, is this could be a difficult afternoon, but all credit to the players there. They adjusted, got a bit lower, and really were never trouble throughout the game.
That might have been the case, but the giant South African pack caused plenty of problems. The Lions' defence was at breaking point, and only 5 Neil Jenkins penalties kept them in touch.
Ian always said, if we're within 7 points with 10 minutes to go, we have the rugby players to do it. And it rang true in that game. We were still behind, and then Matt Dawson did the cheeky overhead pass that never was on the captain and the number 8, and then Alan Tate scored the try with a triumphant hand salute. So it was the last 10 minutes that I can remember where we actually, it was encapsulated all we've been trying to do, hold them, keep within points with Neil Jenkins kicking the goals, and then just drawn away at the end.
A week later, the teams locked horns in Durban.
We actually froze, I thought. A lot of our players froze in the second test, and we didn't play well at all, I didn't think. We just hung on in there, and the result was what you want as far as the British players was concerned, but actually we didn't play particularly well, and Neil, to give him his due, just kept slotting the goal. So we must have been in positions to kick goals, because he's not the longest kicker in the world, but he was so accurate.
Woody kicked through and created the line-out from which we drove, and then Guscott dropped the goal. So as soon as I saw Jerry getting the ball, I thought, well, there's no way Jerry Guscott's going to miss this. And over it went, and that was it. Test series won.
If I meet John Bentley or Paul Wallace now, or Jason Leonard, or anybody like that, Martin Johnson, you know that, well, you have that to go back on. There's a great memory. I've been asked about what, Grand Slams for Scotland or whatever, how do they compare to the Lions? The Lions in '97 was the greatest one for me.
The blueprints there, that's what all Lions tours, and particularly successful ones, that's the common denominator, unity of purpose from everybody on the touring party.